Ralph, great to see
Wonderful.
you.
Amazing to see you too, Mark. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. I've been watching you since way before I started my own YouTube channel, so I consider you like one of the pioneers of YouTube and just spreading love and light.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's truly, um, I'm humbled, especially from someone coming from you because you do so much great work too.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you because I hold you in such high regard. And I'm curious, like, do you get recognized a lot?
I do, especially when I'm in California. California is a place where I always get recognized a lot. Um, Someone actually recognized me today. A woman came from Greece and she recognized me. So that was flattering.
So when you get recognized in the street, do you stop and talk to the people or
Absolutely. For me, I'm just so humbled by it because no one has to come and take time out of their day to talk to me. So for me, I always say everyone's the same. I don't believe in the concept of celebrities because we're all people. So if someone stops, I'm definitely going to take a picture with them, say hi, because I'm just humbled, by it.
That's incredible. Yeah, it seems like the fame, I guess you could call it, has not really changed you. I mean, you've been putting out the same type of energy since I first discovered you like 8 or 9 years ago, which is amazing. You see a lot of creators, they get captured by their audience or the money and the fame goes to their head and they change, but you seem to have handled it quite well. How'd you do that?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, for me, I always say that you have to be careful with fame, especially because like YouTubers are like the new celebrities, even yourself. You have to be careful it doesn't go to your head. So I've always got like memories in my mind of when I first started, because my humble beginnings always keep me grounded when no one even knew who I was. So it's a case where I always say that um, I've seen the stories of certain celebrities with everything, even condolences to Matthew Perry, the Friend star, who passed away. But I see stories like that. I'm like, gosh, these people have everything, but it's not just about the money or the fame. You got to be happy yourself. So I always make that a priority. Make sure you're happy yourself because that's what matters the most.
That's beautiful. Yes. And so I think we're ready to get into it. I just
Yes.
wanted to
How's my
express a few.
audio? Is it okay?
It sounds great.
Oh, great. That's
Yeah,
good. That's good.
yeah. It always sounds great.
Yes.
Yeah, you're looking good. Where are you? You don't have to dox yourself, but where are you based in the world?
Right now, I'm in the UK. I'm in the UK.
Yeah,
I'm in the UK,
your
and
your
I
physical
love it.
body's
I
there.
love the UK. I love the US. I love traveling. Um, but
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
be
in
in San
California.
Diego soon as well.
Oh, great. I'm in California, and you have a lot of fans here.
Oh, thank you.
So the few videos that we've done, people said, "I'm so glad you linked up with Ralph Smart." People love you here.
I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, I wrote down a couple questions, and I wanted to jump into one. What is the third eye, and how do we open it?
The third eye is really the Ajna chakra, and this deals with imagination. It deals with creativity. It deals with inner foresight, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience. It's really located right between the middle of your brows, and it's always been linked to knowing what's going to happen before it happens. In fact, scientists have actually found out that the third eye, what the ancients called the first eye, actually has photoreceptors, rods and cones, just like our physical eyes. So they would always say we see with these two eyes, but actually we see the truth with our third eye.
And so, are there certain things that cause our third eye to close?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things that causes the third eye to close is not being open to new information. A lot of people, as soon as they say, okay, I don't want to know anything, I know everything, then the third eye, which is actually linked to a gland called the pineal gland, begins to calcify. Also, fluoride in water junk food, all of this calcifies the pineal gland. And one of the greatest ways to decalcify the pineal gland, which actually activates the third eye, is sun gazing, swimming in the ocean, getting as much nature as possible, and also being open to information. That's one of the biggest things, because the more you are open, especially in these days and times, to new information, your third eye is going to grow larger, and you're going to be able to see things you've never seen before. I link the third eye to perspectives. It gives you whole new perspectives to everything.
Yes, I went to Egypt, and it's so cool how a lot of the art there involves shapes that look like pine cones. And I'm like, they don't have pine trees here. I've always linked that to like the pineal gland, because to me, the pine cone shape represents the pineal gland. And it seems like these ancient cultures were very switched on to the third eye. You look at all this old art across the world, like Tibetan art, they put that eye there for a reason. It seems like a lot of things in our modern culture are kind of blocking that third eye, that intuition that we used to tap into.
Absolutely. You see, our modern culture doesn't encourage people to question the narrative. It wants people to accept everything. And the third eye is all about not accepting the status quo. It's about challenging it. It's about realizing we're only seeing less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum, visible light, 0.035%. We're literally blind in the universe. So a lot of ancient cultures, especially in Peru, they would take ayahuasca. They would, even Terence McKenna is really responsible for talking about psilocybin and all of these things, which actually, bring the third eye to life, where you can realize there's realms and dimensions beyond this one.
Yeah, I do. Do you ever feel like you're doing anything that's very brave or courageous? Because to me, when I see you on camera, it seems like you're being very courageous, and you're not afraid to go there and question things and speak truth to power. And I'm always like, oh wow, he's really going there. Yeah. So
absolutely. For me, I'm a deep diver, so Infinite Waters diving deep is all about that. We have to realize that actually I'm drawn to people who just speak and say it how it is. I'm kind of drawn to those people. So I always said, why don't I become one of those people? Because people are ultimately after the truth, not sugarcoating it, but just the raw truth. So I always tell myself that, hey, be brave, and I'm still here, because I'm always showing people no one is after you. A lot of people have this concept that maybe the elite or someone is coming after you. I said, look, the only one coming after you is yourself. You are the only one. You are your own worst enemy. There's no force coming against you if you aren't going against yourself. So I've never believed that I'm in danger or anything. I always say no one cares. People are busy. People have got things to think about. If anyone is thinking about you, just take it as a compliment.
Yeah. That's great. So there's no signs of stopping for Ralph Smart.
No. I'm just starting, because the thing is, the internet has changed so much. Even sharing content has changed. You can probably attest to this, but it's exciting now, because right now, so much is happening in the world. It seems like everything I was speaking about years ago is actually happening. And we have a lot of work to do. This is going to take a collective effort to get ourselves out of this mess in the world. And you as a creator have an enormous gift to really, put out images that can really help people during this testing time of the planet.
So do you. I feel like our messages really complement each other. I'm really into the visual side, and your message is so true and powerful. So yes. I'm not trying to kiss your ass, but I'm telling you the truth.
Thank you. I love your work as well. Like I said, as soon as I came across your work, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is a genius. Just how because I know art takes so long to create every single frame that you do, and you make it look so effortless. So you're truly a master of what you do.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm a really visual person, so through the process of illustrating it is how I learn. So I'm kind of doing this for myself. You know, every topic that I've covered is just something that I personally have been super interested in. And that's kind of been my guiding light. You know, in the beginning, I chased views a little bit. And then I realized that you kind of have to make the videos for yourself that you want to watch, and that
Yes,
yourself is the target audience. So,
absolutely.
yeah. So we just kind of touched on this chaotic time we're living in, and it seems like we have two major things rolling down our way. We have the Great Awakening and the Great Reset. And I'm curious to get your opinion. Which side do you think is going to prevail?
That's a great question. Great question. I would definitely say that the Great Awakening is going to prevail, most definitely. Um, because right now, in fact, a lot of people are no longer believing the mainstream media like they used to. Um, that's the reason why they had to kind of remove the dislike button from YouTube. And a lot of the news outlets, they turn off the comments on their videos. It's because there's this massive awakening with the people. People are ready. They're awake. And you can see it in the comment section. Just look at the comment section. you know, People aren't stupid anymore because information is readily available. So I never underestimate the power of the human spirit. People are really ready for the Great Awakening. They're ready to, seek the truth, live in a better world than this one. It's just that the people who have controlled this matrix for so long don't want to let go. So it's going to be a dogfight, because a lot of people have a lot of interest in this world, and they're realizing that actually if people wake up, they won't hold the same power as they used to.
Exactly. Are you dealing with any of the censorship and the tactics of the Great Reset coming your way?
Well, a few years back there was a pandemic, and
Or was there?
there was some kind of pandemic on the planet, right? So I made a video. This was December 2020, and it got removed by YouTube. It went viral almost in the first day, over 100,000 views. I'm like, yes. And then, they just removed it for medical misinformation. So, and then I did a live stream and they also removed that. And I got like 2 strikes on my channel, and I was actually banned for 2 weeks. Luckily, I had pre-recorded videos, so I would actually just, I had done some videos I made before I would put them out. But, I spoke about this, and this was, a wake-up call for me that actually, unfortunately, big tech is still controlled. As great as YouTube is, I love YouTube. At the same time, there are certain things you can't say simply because, especially at that time, now it's a bit better, but at that time, the whole world was in a frenzy. So a lot of people were getting kicked off the platform, and I had to be careful because I said, okay, I still got a message to share. And, that's when I realized that, okay, I have to go to Rumble. I actually set up a Rumble account, and I got contacted by Rumble. The team contacted me and said, come to Rumble, and I did. But I still realize that YouTube is a lot better than Rumble simply because people are there. People know YouTube. A lot of people don't know Rumble. So I still say that YouTube is still the best platform to share information.
I totally agree with you. And this podcast is going to be on YouTube, so the YouTube overlords, the algorithm, please forgive us for what we're about to say. But yes,
Please.
I'm also on Rumble, and I really appreciate the core message of Rumble is like, we're going to stick to free speech no matter what. And I also got contacted by them, so I've been happy to upload my stuff over there too. I haven't really announced it anywhere, but the views on Rumble are pretty good. Like,
Yes.
my last video got more views on Rumble than it did on YouTube. So,
Amazing.
things are happening over there, but I feel like Rumble is not quite a very sticky platform, as they say. Like, you kind of go on it, you might watch half of one video and then you'll go back to YouTube. Whereas like YouTube is just so sticky. When you get on
Yes.
it, it's like everything is like it almost knows you more than you know yourself, you know?
Yeah, because
If you see a
YouTube has
video,
had
yeah.
over a decade to to master everything, and it's got all the traffic, so and it's got the advertisers. It's a lot easier to make a career on YouTube than any other platform because they've made deals with advertisers, and a lot of people can make a living off YouTube, which is fantastic. And Rumble now is on the rise. A lot of people are coming to Rumble. It's a great website.
Yeah, has YouTube changed quite a bit since you first started?
Oh, absolutely. It's no longer fun anymore. It's gotten too serious.
So it's more like a job now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about when I first started YouTube, everyone was creative. Everyone had a uniqueness. You see, there was me, there was Jenna Marbles, there was Shane Dawson. These are the big YouTubers, but there was the Electric Guitar Man, or there were so many different people on YouTube that you could actually thrive in being who you really are.
Wow, you just mentioned a couple names that I remember Jenna Marbles, and I'm like, where is she now?
Yes.
To me, you're like one of the OGs of YouTube and you're still doing it, which is amazing. Like you look at creators like David Dobrik or
Yes.
Vitali. I don't know if you know these pranksters. There's always been like a day in the sun for certain types of YouTube content. Like there was a period where prank videos were on fire, and now I think it's podcasts are crushing it.
Yes,
I don't know, what else are you seeing?
It's definitely podcasts and information about what's happening in the world, trending topics, because a lot of people, like you said, back in the day, it was more pranks and all of these videos, but then YouTube was all about retention. They wanted people to stay on the platform longer, so longer form content. People like Joe Rogan doing the podcast, it was a success. So a lot of people realize that actually podcasting is what people want to listen to on a long drive. And the problem is with YouTube is that the creators actually made YouTube what it was. That's the thing that YouTube should never forget, because people like Jenna Marbles, myself, other people, this is why people came to YouTube. We don't want YouTube to turn into a news station of just news, because it's all about the creators. That's what it was designed for. It's all about the creators.
Right. Like if in the beginning of these platforms, if they had all these rules and policies about what you can and can't say, I don't even think they would have gotten popular. But they got popular because they were all about freedom and creativity. And now that they're very popular and they have the audience, now they're enforcing these rules. And whenever you overstep your bounds and get too authoritarian, you're going to make a void where you're going to make room for somebody else to pop up and fill that void. And so that's why you get Rumble and you're getting these alternative platforms, and Elon Musk took over X. It has been interesting to see it's like the hermetic principles, that ebb and flow of just like if things go too far one way on the pendulum, they come back. And
Yes.
It's just about seeing that. Yeah.
No, definitely. I mean, when I first started YouTube, you could literally say whatever you want. There were all kind of videos, which is what made it so exciting, because there was no censorship. It was amazing. And that's why you had so much creativity come out from it, And now they're saying that TikTok is really the number one app, where a lot of people who are once on YouTube, they've left. That's the reason why views are dwindling. That's the reason why a lot of people have left the site, especially a lot of young people. They're now on TikTok and things like that.
Yeah, I've noticed my views have been kind of going down over the last year. And maybe I talked to the YouTube people that work within there, and they say, oh, it's just because during COVID, the views were out of control. People were on their phones and their tablets 24/7. Now they're kind of going out more, but there's just so much competition. It's like we're drowning in entertainment.
Yes. I mean, the thing about the views is that I've had videos with over 5 million views, 4 million views, and now the views aren't that much like they used to be. But it's a case where you have to realize it's not so much about the views, it's who you're connecting with. If you have the right audience, even just 1,000 people who really support you, there are small channels who really can make a living because of the audience members they have are just legit. So I always say it's not so much the quantity, it's really the quality of the interactions you're having with the people. In fact, when I had a small channel, it was great because I could actually talk to every single person.
That's great. Yeah. So, I mean, I hope you don't stop because I watch your videos all the time.
I would never stop. I would never stop. I'm just getting started.
That's great. I'm glad you're expanding to Rumble and other things.
Yes.
Yeah. And you have a book too, right?
Yeah, I've got 2 books. I've got 3 books, actually. I've got a science fiction novel, Triathlon, The Love of the Galaxy, on Amazon. I've got Feel Alive by Ralph Smart, The Secret Recipe to Becoming Your Greatest Version. And I've got the Book of 1111 Quotes by Ralph Smart. And another book is on the way.
Awesome. I can't wait to, yeah, that's great. So I got a couple other questions here. This one's a bit deep. What do you think happens when we die?
Oh, that's a great question. I always say there's no deep questions. Where life in itself is all about exploration. I always say that when we die, we are basically we leave one vehicle and get into another one. This is a ride, like Bill Hicks said, and we sometimes think in our society that this is it. But we forget that from the moment you're born, you're changing. We want to be permanent, but permanency doesn't even exist anywhere. Everything is changing for a reason. So I always say when we die, we're changing state, we're changing form, and we're also changing who we actually are into something even better. Energy can never die. Where we're going, I truly believe, is going to be somewhere in the Milky Way. And, it's kind of amazing to think about that, this energy we have, this spirit in form, is eternal. It can never be destroyed. And in my mind, we're just going to continue to be a part of the universe.
That's beautiful. So do you believe in reincarnation?
For me, I definitely do, because I definitely feel that not in the way that a lot of it has been written about, like certain people come back as someone. I definitely believe in reincarnation, that our energy is recycled somewhere in the universe. And that's just evident because everything goes into the soil, flowers grow, everything. I do also believe that, reality is what we know of it is, we're only seeing a limited amount of it. I definitely realize that, yes, we could be living in a simulation. So many things could be happening that we're unaware of. I do believe as well that our soul can choose to reincarnate into another body for another experience. I do believe that we're so powerful that we can choose to have unlimited experiences of this life thing. Because a lot of people, when we say, okay, the Marcus Aurelius, who was the Roman emperor, said, what we do now echoes on into eternity. And that's always left a mark in me to realize that, where did you get all of your artistic talent from? You could have been an artist back 2,000 years ago. That's how you perfected this craft. So I always say that a lot of people have the gifts they have right now because of past lives and all of these things. And it carries on from one life to the next. That's why I truly know that, you might find yourself back here, and that's why you got to become mindful of how you're living right now. What we do now echoes on into eternity.
God, I love that. That is one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite movies, Gladiator.
Gladiator.
He says
yes.
that. Yeah, that movie had a big impact on me. And that line at the beginning, I actually printed out in big letters, what we do in life echoes in eternity. And I put that on my dad's wall to motivate him. I think that statement is very relevant when you think about the afterlife, and we have this conception of heaven and we're going to go to paradise after we die, and only if you do the right things in this life. And I think that this is an idea I just kind of started touching on, but I think that metaphorically is true, because if you do the right things in this life, you are setting up a paradise in the future. If we came here to create on this planet, and if we're creating it right, we create heaven on earth here.
Absolutely.
If we're creating it wrong, we can create hell.
Yes.
Bruce Lipton, he really inspires me a lot. And he said, when you think about heaven, everybody's version of heaven is different. So, when I ask you what heaven is, you have a vision in your mind and I have a vision in my mind, and they're different. So that means heaven is a creative place, and we can create it on this planet right now. What if we were born into heaven? That's a different idea. That puts a different spin on everything.
Yes, this is truly heaven on earth. This earth is beautiful. I've lived in Hawaii, I've lived in California, I've lived in Brazil, all around the world. That this is really paradise on earth. And due to a lot of religions, they've had people waiting for an afterlife. That's when they'll be rewarded. But actually, this is the time that you should get your rewards. This is the time to enjoy life because, like Eckhart Tolle said, there's only now, and this is heaven on earth. We've got everything we need here. It's really a paradise here.
That's beautiful. And I think that life is getting better, but it seems like there's a sentiment around the globe. And when you talk to young people, they're very nihilistic and depressed, and they don't want to have kids. They don't believe in the future. You say, hey, do you want to save for retirement? They're going to be like, there's not going to be a world in 50 years. So
Right. Yes, because we have to remind ourselves that a lot of the world is deeply traumatized. We live in a cartoon character world where, what goes viral is ignorance. That's what, a lot of the times goes viral, unfortunately. So what's happened is that society has become so dumbed down, that it's believing that this is it, and now people are starting to say, wait a second, they've been programmed to believe that this is all there is, from the TV to the movies to the news, and nothing could be further from the truth. Because a lot of people are nihilistic because, once again, the examples they're being shown by the world is not good. The media is full of bad news. So how on earth can you expect the youth to be positive? So it's like things are shifting, though, because you're having conscious parenting, people who are having children, taking their children out of these schools, homeschooling their children. And a lot of these people are awake, and their children are becoming geniuses because they have a whole new education. There's a reason why people like Elon Musk, they don't send their children to normal schools. They send their children to special schools where other people they have a small classroom, only 5 children in a classroom. So they're having premium learning education. So these children become so much more different. What's happened in society is that it's what I call the conveyor belt society. Society is broken, and yet it's still trying to go on, and it has to stop and press pause and then say what's going on. But society is so arrogant, it just keeps on going on, not realizing it's broken.
So does it need a complete collapse, or is there a way to reverse course?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it needs not only a collapse, it needs what Sadhguru talks about, inner engineering. People have to literally heal themselves from the inside out. That takes work. You see, our society equates getting things done fast with evolution. Nothing could be further from the truth. A lot of people wake up very early and say, I got to go to work. Excuse me, I'm busy. Not realizing their work is actually contributing to the destruction of the whole planet. Since 1970, over 60% of wildlife populations have been wiped out from this planet. Our actual everyday activity is what's caused this mess in the first place. So people have to stop exactly what they're doing right now.
Well, it seems like what drives us in the short term is ultimately quite bad for us in the long term. So like, if you just think about in your daily life, eating chips and cake and watching Netflix, that feels great immediately. Yes. But when you look back and you say, oh, wow, that didn't really make me feel good, You know, I think it's a matter of using our conscious mind versus our subconscious. When you
Yeah,
wake up in the morning,
definitely.
yeah,
I mean, it's just it takes a lot more effort to kind of become your greatest version than it does to get the rewards. You know, we live in a society of instant gratification. Instagram has helped that. TikTok has helped that because all you have to do is post a video from your phone. When I first started making videos, you had to go and buy a camera, buy a tripod. It's a lot of physical work making a video, and that's why it was so rewarding. Now a lot of people have it so easy. You know, just from their iPhone, they can do whatever they want, take a picture, and take a video, whatever, and they've got this sense of entitlement. And that's the reason why a lot of this generation is suffering because they haven't done any work.
yeah. There's an idea I just heard that freaked me out because we have this idea of AI coming and it's gonna take over the world and it's gonna be this super intelligent super being. We're gonna create a god, or it's gonna be like Skynet with these war machines that we have to fight with. But the scary idea I just heard is that maybe the feature of AI is it's just an algorithm that knows how to manipulate us and keep us hooked on it for the longest period of time. Because the algorithms, that's kind of what is being incentivized now in the attention economy, is what algorithm can capture your attention the longest. And eventually they're going to develop some algorithm that's so good that you just stay hooked on every waking second and even when you're asleep too.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
that could be the
definitely.
future.
I mean, there was a theory called the dead internet theory, and I'm not sure if you heard of that theory. So basically, they're saying that the internet is 80% is controlled by bots, even in YouTube comment sections and all of these things. It's not actually real people, and when you're on the internet, it's supposed to be where everything is, but actually, a lot of people are feeling lonely on the internet. It's feeling empty. It's not what it once was. Once upon a time, the internet, you could really find anything. But now the internet is almost controlled. It's like you can't even find other alternative information. You're just finding fact checked, or, it's like everything is being moved into the same thing, same information everywhere. And, we have to make sure the internet is free once again, so we can really have different alternative, informative information everywhere.
The dead internet theory. Wow, I've never heard of that, but that is making
yeah,
me think.
I did a video
Yeah.
on it. I mean, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. One guy who really speaks a lot about it is just showing you how, go on Twitter, actually when someone comments on your video, go and check out who that person actually is. And a lot of people, if you go and look at their username, it's just like a nobody. It's like, who the hell are these people? And you realize that there's websites where you can buy bots who respond to people. And you can change kind of how people think. A lot of news corporations do this. They buy comments and reply to people. It's not even real people. So the internet is not what we think it is, because there's a whole idea that it's all about basically, like you said, the algorithm, and it's all about numbers. But what if someone can hack into the numbers? What if someone can create, there's sites which you can inflate the views, all kind of things. So, are those real views? Are those real comments? You have to question everything. I mean, sometimes I see someone's video and they have very few subscribers. They got 5 million views. I'm like, how did that happen?
Yes, I did make the mistake early on in my Instagram of buying some viewers, or I bought some followers. Somebody messaged me and they were like, I can get you 1,000 followers for like $30. And I was like, okay. And I think I bought maybe like 3,000 followers. And then, like you said, I'm like, who are these people?
Right.
And you click on all their profiles and they all have no followers and no pictures. It's just an empty profile. And then this guy's like, oh, well, well, then you have a bunch of followers and you post something and it gets no interaction. Nobody's interacting with it. So then they say, hey, if you pay us, we can get you a bunch of likes and we
Right.
can get you comments too. It's so weird. You have bots commenting and replying to bots. So I guess I can see what you're saying with the internet is dead. It's just a whole bunch of not real things interacting with each other to create this illusion that,
Definitely, definitely. And that's the reason why, Instagram is coming to an end, because Instagram was originally created for photos and messaging people and friendships and all of that. But then it turned into, people inflating views and likes and all kind of things, because everyone wants to have more followers, more subscribers. This is the greed of humanity, right? People want more and more. They don't even care if they're real or not. So people started to buy fake views and fake followers, and that's the reason why people don't want to. A lot of people are not posting like they used to, because it doesn't seem to be a sacred place to really share authenticity anymore. It's more about, people just want to inflate their egos.
yeah, and it's so ironic because they're posting fake things. They're doctoring their photos, photoshopping them, putting filters on, and then they're getting these fake interactions. It,
Right, right. And that's the reason why YouTube is still so powerful, because you're talking or you're creating. People can see an authentic piece of artwork. And that's why I always tell people that we're in a great time for creativity. For the artists, this is your time, because we can do what news corporations can't do. People are drawn to us more than CNN or Fox News because we're real and we've got a mind of our own. So I always tell people that don't underestimate the power of your voice, your message, and your ability to share with the world.
I think there's a lot of good to, we're becoming very fractured as a civilization because, like you're saying, the mainstream media is dying. So now everybody can become their own media hub. And also we're seeing the death of many major religions. Christianity in America has been losing popularity every single year. And a lot of people say that's a good thing. But when you lose those common belief systems that hold people together, everybody goes off and worships their own God. And some of those gods are false idols. I think it can be very good to remove the institutions out of spirituality so you can have your own direct relationship with God. But some people, they can't help themselves. They worship celebrity or money or power or politicians. It's just natural. We're going to worship something. There's no such thing as atheism. So,
Yes, definitely, definitely. I mean, certain people worship war, So, you have to realize that, Karl Marx said religion is the opiate for the masses, and even if you're not religious, money can be your god, celebrities can be your god, more viewers can be your god, So we have to be very careful that just because you're not a Christian or Muslim or whatever, you still might have even a worse god that's controlling your life and really, creating an addict out of you.
yes, I did a video on audience capture. Have you heard of this idea?
No.
Well, they call people that make content influencers, right? But if you really think about it, who's doing the influencing? The audience or the content creator? Because a lot of these content creators have to play a character on camera, and their audience is they're going to get more and more demanding, and they're going to want more. Yeah, they're going to want more extreme behavior. So the more demanding the audience gets, the more extreme the character has to get in order to please them. So you end up getting these creators who started off pretty modest, and they end up becoming these wild caricatures of their original self. And it's kind of like, was that your choice, or did the audience influence you to become that way and go crazy?
Yes, yeah, and that's why it's hard sometimes to be a content creator, especially now, because we're in the gladiators arena. Are you not entertained? Truth is, people want entertainment. People don't want to be taught something. They want entertainment, just like when they go to the movies. So you have to have that subtle balance of valuetainment, edutainment, education with information and value and all of these things. And has to be entertaining, because people, they come home from work, they want to watch Netflix. So you have to almost, have that balance of doing what you want and also, putting on a show, because we have to remind ourselves that it's art at the end of the day, which is a good thing. And art is as well. Every artist has to create a spectacle. That's one of the laws of power, be a spectacle. And, the problem is that a lot of people lose themselves in a character. I've seen it on YouTube. So many content creators, they stopped making videos because they were playing a character. And it's crazy. People who are just themselves are still here, like myself. So, and you as well, so that's the main thing, because you see, we're in a world where everyone wants to go viral, even on TikTok. If you ask people, why are you on TikTok? They'll tell you, because I want to get more followers. I want this video to go viral. So instead of the information, it becomes about virality. So nothing has changed from now and 2,000 years ago. People want attention. People want to be the Don. Everyone wants to be the one that everyone looks to. Your own personal savior, Jesus Christ, So everyone wants to be a god, basically, where everyone worships them and says, so this is a part of human nature, to be deified. And that's the reason why we have gods even today, because, they also wanted to be worshipped by human beings.
Exactly. It definitely taps into our human nature, because there's only a few things that we really crave as social beings. One of them is appreciation. One of them is sympathy, and we want to feel important.
Yes.
And usually when people come to you, they usually want one of those three things. And if you give it to them, they'll love you for it. Sometimes that doesn't entail giving them the truth, though. So there's one of my favorite quotes by Thomas Sowell is, if you want to help somebody, you tell them the truth. If you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I think, just like we were talking about earlier with the short-term and long-term incentives, what those algorithms give you is exactly what you want to hear in the short term, but it's completely at odds with what's in your best interest in the long term. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, today I'm going to spend 8 hours on my phone scrolling. That's
right.
Something that happens when you're unconscious.
Definitely. But as well, I always tell people that it's a whole package. You see, what YouTube is run on is advertising. Now, if it wasn't for the advertisers, people wouldn't make a living off YouTube. So in actuality, you should thank the advertisers for changing your life.
Right.
We often think that the advertisers are the bad ones. Actually, they're spending millions of dollars, and they're actually funding every content creator on YouTube. So we have to also thank advertisers, because they spend a whole lot of money, and that's how people get paid. So everything is a business, and
right.
that's okay. Everything is a business. It's just about the balance of it.
I do feel that the advertising business model is very unsustainable. I don't think it's a good business model. I don't think that depending upon marketing and advertising is a good long-term strategy. Like, provide value, provide a product that provides value to somebody, and then they pay for it. But
I agree. I
don't know.
100% agree. That's why I always say, make sure you produce at a high quality. So people, they can come to you and they can support your work, or they can see the value in it. Because what's happened with YouTube is that people don't really care about value. They don't care about quality. When I first started, you had to buy a camera, tripod. Now your iPhone can do everything, and it's still good quality. So people, when they watch a video, they're not really caring so much about the fine details. They just want to be entertained. So what a lot of creators have found out, that it's not so much how long you spend on a video. I mean, how many times have you spent a long time on a video, and the one which you spent the least time on does the best? The one that you don't even care about does the best. So people are starting to realize this, creators are starting to realize this, and it's all about, okay, ultimately I have to simplify everything. I have to create value. And, like you said, you don't need an advertisement on your video. At the same time, you have to put value on your work. I always tell people, when you make a video, like the videos you make, every video should be over $100,000. This is how you got to see your work. The reason why is because you're helping over 100,000 people. So I'm very different. I always say that my message is going to help me create abundance, because I've got to fund this thing. It's going to take resources. I'm not a poor righteous teacher, because I know that part of abundance is about realizing your worth. And you have to realize that there are people who are funding a very bad cause. So for your work, you should be compensated. Everyone who's doing the kind of work that you're doing should be a millionaire, should be living good, because the more finances you have, the more you can invest back into the business to have even better work. So I'm someone who learned that, I learned that years ago, to say, actually, creating good content is going to take a lot of financial muscle. And as well, you need a good environment to be in. You need a microphone, a camera. All of these things cost money. And you have to find a way of leveraging sponsorship, or, getting advertisement, or, charging people for your services, because that's how you can continue to keep going. A lot of people say, you know what, I'm going to make everything free. And these people become broke by 2 weeks. And what you don't want to do is ask people for money. You don't want to ask your audience, hey, donate to me. You can do that, but why not show them that you are already manifesting? I always tell my audience that, don't worry, I'm abundant, and you can support. That's fantastic. But I've hacked the algorithm that now I can get you a message without you even doing anything.
Yeah, you don't take any sponsors on your channel, do you?
I've taken 2 recently, last year, and but they were, for what I believed in. But I'm not someone to always say this video is sponsored by this. I kind of get turned off by that. I would rather, an ad before the video than that, simply because anytime I'm interrupted during a video to say, hey, let me talk for 3 minutes to tell you about this other company, it's a distraction from the main content. For me, the actual YouTube ads are fine, because in the beginning of the video, that's okay, but when you say, okay, I've done a few of those and they're okay, but even when I do them, I feel a kind of way, because it kind of takes away from my main video.
I totally feel you on that one, because I took a few sponsors, and every time I did it, I just felt this knot inside me that it wasn't good. And I got into YouTube so I wouldn't have to answer to anybody, so I could be my own boss and just have the freedom to create. And the second you get involved with a sponsor, they're going to need a say on the final video. They're going to have their own deadlines. You're going to have to meet their, standards and whatever. And to me, that was almost like going backwards, because I had a job where I worked for a bunch of different people, and you're working to make them happy, and that just kills creativity.
Yes.
My mantra when I'm making videos now is I always want the video I'm working on today to be better than the previous one. That's my mantra.
That's a good mantra.
And back when I was working for other people and making videos to make them happy, my mantra was just get it done.
Yes.
Just get it done and get paid. And it's a very different way of thinking, because back when I was a freelancer, if they would say, hey, change this, and I thought the change was going to be horrible, I wouldn't. I'd say, all right, yeah, because I didn't care. I'd be like, all right, I'm just trying to make you happy. It's kind of like that quote that I just said. When you want to help somebody, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. In this instance, I was just, okay, whatever you want. Yeah, even if it looks terrible, sure. And I even
And
had
as
certain
well,
tricks.
what happens is that people lie to people. You know, you lie to your
Right.
audience. Sometimes you oversell them the product. You say, hey, go and click on this app. It's going to change your life. And actually, you're not even into the app that much as well. But you've got to say it. You know, the company want you to say that this is the best app. And, you know, so you sometimes don't realize that you're not telling the whole truth about the product that you're promoting. And you
Yeah,
might be
and
leading people down a bad way in terms of they might get addicted to a product that you're not even really into yourself. So, you know, I
totally.
always say it's a balance. You know, I mean, there's some great companies which you can team up with, but I always say it's a slippery slope. Sometimes you have to be careful that, you know, you don't get, you know, you don't sell your soul in terms of do something that you're just taking it for the money. You know, and that's like you said, when you do that, creativity dies. That's why I told you, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you need sponsorships. You don't want to put yourself in a position. You want to make sure that, like I said, you want to be grateful that you have YouTube advertisements where that's universal. So people don't mind that. At the same time, they can pay people. So in a way, it's a win-win because advertisers are paying you and the audience is happy at the same time. So,
right.
you
Yeah,
know,
I
yeah.
yeah, I think that the advertising business model is not nearly as good as like the Netflix business model, which clearly isn't doing well right now because the streaming is tanking. But I would much prefer that people just pay a few dollars and then no ads. And so I have YouTube Premium, which is great. Once you get it, you can't go back. It's like $12 a month and you
Right.
never see another ad. And you got to think about how much is your time worth? Because like if you watch 45 hours of YouTube per month, you're going to sit through maybe 2 hours of ads.
Yeah.
You know, how much is 2 hours worth to you?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
your time worth $12 an hour? You know, if it is, you got to think about
Right.
Think about
right.
how much your time is worth.
Absolutely. I mean, your time is precious. YouTube Premium is great, and you know that's the best thing. You know, right now, you know, you have to realize it's all about being your own boss.
Well, yeah, there's a couple more questions on here that
Yes.
maybe we can run through one more and then just wrap it up.
Yes. Let's go for it.
Yeah, yeah. I heard you talk about the golden age on your channel, and I'm really curious about, I don't know what the golden age is. What is that?
Well, you see, there have been golden age civilizations. For example, in ancient Egypt, they had a golden age of when they were able to build the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, the Sphinx. It's a period of sustained peace in a civilization where there's no war. It's just all about innovation, inventions, progress. And it happens for thousands of years. So that's what we call a golden age, where so much technological advancement takes place, so much evolution in civilization, great inventions. And when you take a look at ancient Egypt, right now they can't build the Great Pyramid of Giza. The Japanese try, they can't. I mean, people look back and say it's thousands of years old. We've got all of this technology. How come we can't build it right now? So there's a missing link. There's something that we don't know about that made that civilization so advanced. And our civilization is quite primitive compared to that because we're actually in war. And anytime you have war, it's a decline of the civilization. A golden age is when there's an absence of war. And that's the big difference.
Yeah, you just mentioned the Japanese tried to build the pyramids.
They tried. People have tried to, build the Great Pyramid of Giza. They can't do it. You should listen to the work of Graham Hancock as well, who talks about it. But A lot of
Love him.
architects, they
Yeah.
want to build the Great Pyramid of, they can't, they can't do it, you know. So it's a thing that's thousands of years old, you know, and it's aligned to so many things in the universe. And you know, it's just fascinating that we think that as we're evolving in humanity, we're actually becoming wiser. But what if we're actually becoming more primitive, and there were advanced civilizations before who were far more advanced than we are right now? So we have to remind ourselves the golden age is like Atlantis. It's all about these civilizations which, you know, they were all about love and harmony and peace, and they had time to really create pyramids. People, like I say, in a state of war, you know, there is no inventions made apart from artillery, but nothing great comes out of war. And this is the time we're in right now on the planet. So we can't be in a golden age right now because we're in a survival mode. There's people are even stressed out to even be creative. Young children are stressed out. So a golden age is a time where you have time to create. You have time to be artistic. And that's the reason why when you look back to ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, the whole civilization was full of art. It was full of beauty. It was full of awe. That's a golden age.
So are we a species with amnesia?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've forgotten. And we can remember. But once again, the programmers of this matrix don't want you to remember, because once you do, you now become activated. You now remember your power, and you don't need them anymore. You now create your own reality, like what you're doing, what I'm doing. And a lot of people, once they start to remember who they are, it's a wrap. It's over. This relationship they've had with society comes to an abrupt end. They get divorced from the system. They leave a crummy ass 9 to 5, and they start working on their dream. Sometimes they become an entrepreneur. You know, life takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, I love when you say you have to know your worth. I feel like that's a very powerful statement, because some part of us knows our worth, and another part of us knows that we're not living up to it. So how do you discover your worth?
Definitely. To discover your worth, you have to realize that you've got a gift. That's first and foremost. You have to realize one of the most expensive artworks in the world is the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. They say it's priceless, but if you wanted to buy it,
the value of it is worth more than the entire GDP of France.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
You know, so that's just one painting, and he's got others. So how come that painting is worth so much? And it's got everything to do with the value. And as an artist, which we all are, you have to start putting value on your work, because you have to realize if you don't, no one else will. That's the world we're living in. When you go to the shop and you see a pair of sneakers for like $100, something tells you it's more valuable than one that's $30. The only thing is they might be the same, but the one that's $100 is putting more value on their designs. They're saying, look, this is a premium product. We're placing more value. And that's why you buy it, because you say, okay, this person has put value on their designs, and therefore I have to value that. You see, when someone doesn't place value on themselves, we don't even place value on it either. So you have these designers, Gucci, Versace, all of these things, they put value on their products. And that's why people spend thousands on designer clothes, because they say, okay, I'll buy it, you know. So we have to remind ourselves that value starts with yourself, you know. True value is internal. True value is internal, and it has to start with you to like I told you, every video that you make should be, it's not about the money, but you have to realize it's worth a whole lot. You should see it as a Netflix special, because you're not only creating, you're editing, you're uploading. It's a whole product which can be shown to millions of people, and it does get shown to millions of people. So you are competing with Netflix. So a lot of people, when they realize the work they do is valuable, that's when great things happen.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I love that I love how motivational some of your videos are, and they can speak to you when you're in a very dark place. And like we were talking about earlier, I think a lot of the world is going through a dark time right now, especially mentally.
Yes.
And, we need more optimism in the world. We need something in the future to get excited about. So
Yeah.
I guess, my last question to you is, are you optimistic about the future?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm bringing it about, I'm spreading the message of positivity, and I'm definitely optimistic because I'm a pioneer of the new age, the new world, the new earth, I also realize that we're in a very hard time of humanity right now. So I'm a realist. I'm not one just singing Kumbaya. I'm also aware of the world we're living in. And that's the reason why I'm optimistic, because I know that there's so many people who want to be on the right side of humanity. They want to say, I did the right thing. And that's the time we're in right now, because you have to choose sides, In fact, the great thing that happens in chaos, times of chaos, is that order is restored. There's this overwhelming kind of desire to bring back harmony, even if there wasn't before. It happens during war, so that can be a good thing. And for me, I say that the human spirit is remembering slowly who they really are, and that's why I'm so excited, because the information is here, and thanks to what you're doing, what I'm doing, other people are doing, we're actually reminding people who they really are. I've seen some of your work. I'm blown away to say, wow, that message really is in my brain even more, because just how you illustrated it. So
Wow,
what you're
thank you.
doing is truly powerful. So I'm so optimistic. At the same time, I also know that it's not going to be easy, because you see, how the world works is not just, it works by action. There's a reason why people have been fighting over land. It's acquisition. It's building. It's, you have to create physical structures, institutions, schools. All of how society has been built is very complicated. And if you want a new world, you're also going to have to create a whole new infrastructure. You see? So we have to learn from a failed society to create a better new world. But we also have to realize not everything in society is bad. There's some good things to learn. It's just that society got too greedy. And what we have to do is to remind ourselves that, when we create a new earth, it's going to take a big effort, because it's not going to happen overnight. You need people, doctors, nurses, teachers, all of these things. So for me, it's all about people of every different walk of life getting the right information to who they really are. So as a truth bringer, information bringer, I'm only here to disseminate information that can help people wake up to their true power.
That's beautiful. And it seems like you channel your messages from a higher place. When on some of the videos I've seen, it's like the energy is just like flowing through you, and you're just the vessel that these divine words are going through.
Absolutely. There's a reason why I do a lot of videos in the heart of nature. And also, I don't write down my videos. I don't script the videos. So everything is just fresh.
Do you plan it out though at all? Do you have bullet points?
In my mind, I have bullet points. In my mind, I have
That's
bullet
really
points.
impressive.
But only sometimes just a word or a statement. But, when you're in nature, it's almost like you're riding a wave. You want it to be natural. You don't want it to be scripted. In fact, it's better when it's not scripted because it's more authentic. So when you're in the heart of nature, videos just flow a lot better. So for me, I love being raw, authentic, and showing people that, hey, you've got a voice. People talk every single day. So just imagine you're having a conversation with a good friend.
Right. They tried to bury us. I forgot we were
They
seeds.
tried to bury us.
Yeah, I think, when you're in nature, the beautiful analogies just come to you much quicker, and they're just readily available for you, because in nature you can see it's all harmony, but at the same time there are trees falling over, there are hawks swooping down, picking off gophers. There's a lot of suffering in nature, yet when you look at the whole, it's all harmony. When the big tree falls,
Yes.
it creates a gap in the canopy, and all these little plants can now spring up. So it's like a great metaphor for our life.
Yes.
Things are going to get hard, but on some higher order, it's all for your, it's all training you for this greater purpose.
Yes. What I always say is that the journey doesn't get easier. We just get stronger.
I love that.
The journey doesn't get easier. In fact, that's why even a lot of people, when they have success, there's more problems. The reason why is because there's more variables at play. More money, more problems, more things to think about. But you get stronger. When you're in life and you're having all of these obstacles, you find how to problem solve even better. I do live streaming. I do so many things, and sometimes learning it was a nightmare. But I was getting wiser. I was knowing how to do it, so it doesn't get easy. If you want to go to the next level, there's going to be a bigger challenge for you, but you're going to get stronger and overcome it.
I love that. The journey doesn't get easier. We get stronger.
We get stronger. Always, always.
That's brilliant. I have a saying that I love. In every opportunity, there is difficulty. But in every difficulty, there is opportunity.
Yes, yes.
And,
that's
the
wonderful.
greater the difficulty, the greater the opportunity.
Yes.
So we kind of have a culture where we don't want to experience the hardships of that journey. We want to have a world where there's no sharp corners. But in reality, we should be preparing ourselves for a world with sharp corners.
What you said before is that, like you said, nature is a very, it's harmonious, but it's also a dangerous place. I watch sometimes these wildlife shows and see animals getting devoured, by other animals, and it happens sometimes if they're not paying attention. Us as human beings, we don't have any predators. What we have is just daily challenges. So we have to be very fortunate, because when you're in nature as an animal, you've literally got to survive out there. And if you're not paying attention, basically last year in my garden, there was a bird and there was a fox. Normally birds, they fly above the fox, but this bird wanted to swoop down. It didn't realize the fox was just coming round the corner. And as it saw the fox just reached out at it and it didn't escape, And the other birds just were watching it like, hey, you shouldn't be down there. There's a consequence. So you're learning all of these life lessons, For us, that we should be fortunate that we get to see another day without getting eaten by a fox,
Sounds like that bird almost wanted to commit suicide.
Well, the thing is, it's a case where a lot of nature, everything in nature is like, there's a fine balance. Certain animals, they have this sensor to warn them of predators. But the predators need to eat. The fox has to eat, and they're going to catch a few birds, It's just a thing where everyone has to be on their A game. The fox has to be smarter than the bird. And it can happen. And it's just like in our society, where you have to outsmart the algorithm. You've got to outsmart the matrix. You've got to outsmart the system. Because you have to realize that if you don't be free, someone's going to want to enslave you. Everything in nature has a desire to be free. No one wants to get caught in nature. No animal wants to get caught. If you get caught, you failed. So self-preservation, you're supposed to be as free as you can, no problem. But how many people does society consume? A lot of people end up with broken lives because, once again, you have to stay sharp and focused out here. Anyone can get consumed and swallowed.
That's beautiful. Well, I think that's a very powerful place to end.
Yes.
I'm going to have to process this for a bit, because you and I'm going to be paying extra close attention to the birds now.
That's good.
Yeah, but I want to thank you, Ralph, because you've inspired me so much for so long too, consistently, and I hope you never give up, because you've just inspired millions of people, and I feel blessed to have watched your videos.
Thank you. I will never give up. I'll always keep sharing, and you as well. I hope you never give up. I hope you keep creating, because I know it's not easy what you're doing. I know it takes a whole lot of mastery, and it's a lot of time, a lot of energy, but you make it look easy. So I'm here to tell you, thank you for inspiring millions, and please don't give up, because the world definitely needs your message right now.
Never. And I hope to work with you again in the future.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, my friend. I'm going to end the recording here.
Thank you.